welcome to No Movies in Hell Holiday Edition. I'm Chris Geiger.
I'm LaCroix Scott.
And I'm Linda Vo.
Welcome. We have a special guest, Linda Vo.
Hi, everyone.
And our holiday edition is a little bit, we're getting it out a little bit close to the actual holiday. Maybe next year we will get started on this earlier in the season so we could do maybe Thanksgiving movies too, because Thanksgiving is also a holiday. Or maybe we'll have a special Thanksgiving holiday movie edition. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles as a sneak preview would be on my list of favorites.
Okay, we'll definitely have to do that.
Yeah. LaCroix, I don't know if you want to talk about how we're defining holiday movies for this episode.
Sure. So the methodology for holiday films, I guess this first go round, since this is a brand new experience for us, will be, holiday themed, obviously takes place, somewhere within the window of Christmas all the way to New Year's, but then also we're encompassing television and movies. So of course your Burl Ives, I was going to say something else, Burl Ives, Christmas specials that were on television, specials that are also agnostic to streaming devices. So your Netflix of the world, Netflix originals, movies that came out in theaters, and also classics, anywhere ranging from, I think, our pool of movies was more than 20. I think maybe the oldest or most senior was from the 1930s, going all the way to actually this year. I think Love Hard was one of the contenders. Not sure if it made it to our top 5, but that was the methodology. Those are different variables as part of the methodology for the holiday movie ranking.
Awesome. So I'm going to pull up our slide. Linda, you did rate up to 5, or someone filled them in for you.
I went off the grid and I reevaluated today. And I was like, nope, I'm going to do this all over again.
Oh.
So we're going to count down from 5. So we did, actually, I rated all the way to 10 in my original run at this. And so Die Hard made it in my top 10, which is why I have the Die Hard background, but it did not make my top 5. So my number 5 is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original 1966.
Thanks.
Classic.
I like that one. It's very cute. It's like very background noise for me, especially maybe Christmas Eve. I don't know. I would have, if I would have done a top 10, it definitely would have made the top 10 for sure.
Why do you put it as number 5?
I started with number 1 and then ranked down. So I think if I had started like with number 10 and ranked up, it would have maybe been a little bit different, but it's just how the numbers fell. I love the original because the dog is so full of personality in that. And it was the thing that spawned all the other ones, the movies, the whole merchandise, all the merchandise that's available for that. And so, to me, it's a classic. Linda, you picked Harold and Kumar Christmas as your number 5.
Like I said, reevaluate, but I'll put it down.
Wait, no, don't change it. That would have been in my top 10. Like I really, really liked the Harold and Kumar Christmas movie.
Well, I like any of the Harold Kumar content. Like the dual guys are just like a little bit mimbo-ish, but not running around in all these different storylines. So that one stuck out when I saw the list.
Awesome. And LaCroix, you picked Edward Scissorhands, which is a classic too.
I sure did. So it's interesting because I feel like all my picks are just, not classically like classic holiday films. But what stuck out for me was, the underlying theme of like the holidays, and obviously when Edward Scissorhands was going through and making the ice sculptures for the community, I just had this, I don't know, just like this light bulb moment of, for me, it's like, oh, one of those like warming, sad stories around the holidays. But I mean, aesthetically, I loved I love the premise and I love the movie. And of course, it's Tim Burton. Nightmare Before Christmas would have been in my top 10. I know that a lot of people are probably going to be very sore that it's not even in the top 5, but there are a lot of really great Christmas films. This was very hard.
Yeah.
Even the music for Edward Scissorhands, the music itself sounds holiday-ish.
Yes, very true.
It's funny that actually Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas didn't make any of our top 5.
Yeah.
That one did not stick out for me. Not denied.
I mean, could it have been could it be on the Halloween list? And not necessarily, you know what I mean? Like
Potentially. But
Yeah.
there's some good scary movies that would trump it.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Then you're opening it up to so many.
That's very true. So are we moving forward with the top 4s?
Let's do it.
So Chris, you chose It's a Wonderful Life.
I did, because it's just one of those things that you see every year, whether you want to or not, or whether you intend to watch it that year or not. It's on somewhere, wherever you are. And it's a great story. It's just a sign that Christmas is here to me.
I have a confession. I've never seen it.
Ha ha ha, me too. Ha ha ha.
I see, actually, I think they're showing it in IFC like this weekend all the way to Christmas and maybe afterwards. And I was like, oh, maybe I should go see it.
So a funny story about It's a Wonderful Life. It wasn't super popular when it was first released.
Oh.
And I can't remember, somebody bought the rights to it and basically let it out for free. Not for free, but it was really inexpensive to show it. And so all of the smaller TV stations years and years ago, like the Fox network channels and the WBs and the UPNs, they were trying to find syndicated content that was inexpensive to run around Christmas. And so they all showed it. And so because it was so inexpensive, it just became so popular because it was always on.
Yeah.
And in every market. That's kind of how it became as common as it is
We
around the
just
holidays.
push the content on people.
Yeah.
And it just stuck.
Yeah. So I'm like, TBS did the same thing, right? With
with
A Christmas Story. Right. They run it for 24 hours, and whether you want to or not, you end up seeing it. So
it's so true.
Yeah. I can't believe you guys haven't seen it. That's amazing to me.
What's the premise of the story of It's a Wonderful Life?
Jimmy Stewart is the main character, and he is sad around Christmas, and he wants to sort of make this his last time on earth, right? Like he's debating committing suicide. An angel comes to visit him and shows him what the life of the townspeople and his family and friends would be like if he weren't there. And so they show all the things that he did over the course of his life. Like he saved someone from drowning when he was a kid, and he like did all of these, he's a father and a husband now. And so this angel like shows him how everyone's life would be different if he wasn't there. And so in the end, he decides, okay, things are not nearly as bad as I thought they were.
Wow. Got it.
It's kind of like a Scrooged a little bit.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, I mean, there have been lots of iterations on that over time, although Scrooge is a Christmas Carol, right?
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Yeah, I highly recommend, if you guys have time, get it in there. I've never seen a Harold and Kumar Christmas, but after this, I'm going to watch it because you guys both like it.
Yes.
All right, Linda, you picked Elf.
Elf moved up to 2, so I'll go back to it when it's 2.
Oh, okay.
Don't go by this list.
Don't go by this.
Oh,
Look, why you picked Gremlins.
I did. So, of course, my quirky nature, love the whole story of, just a guy just trying to find a perfect gift. Of course, the gift comes with parameters. So you get your gizmo, but you could potentially get some extended family members if you feed him after midnight. And the multiplier is if there's water involved. So this small town descends into madness as these little gremlins who are extremely bright, like for some interesting derivatives. They're very smart. And they try to survive. Gizmo feels bad. His companion, helps him. There's lots of really cool 80s movies references like Rambo. A part that stuck out for me as a child, which is actually not a very kind moment, was when they like reprogrammed or they short-circuited the mobile, I think it's like a wheelchair that brings you down the stairs.
Oh.
And so they just did this, and they did a horrible thing where they short-circuit it, and like the grandma goes flying out of the window. And I just have this fond memory of just thinking like, wow, there's some engineering feat there of like menace. But I don't know. It's one of those things of like, is Gremlins a holiday film, much like a Die Hard is a holiday film? It's right on that border. And I really thought that it's in my top 5. It's great.
I just recently saw Gremlins like 2 years ago. And as a child, I saw the commercials, I saw like marketing for it, and I was terrified. I was like, I don't want to watch this movie. It looks so scary, these Gremlins. And then Sam was like, my husband said, no, it's actually really good. You'll really like it. And we watched it together 2 years ago, and I really enjoyed it. I love Gizmo. I think he's the cutest. Yeah. And I can do the interpretation of bye, Billy at the end. So I would tease Sam like, bye, Billy. And what I was surprised with, is it rated R? Because like, do we know if it's rated R? Because towards the end, I was a little surprised of how like a little violent and gory at the climax at the end.
Yeah.
Like it got like little gremlins with like knives, and I don't know, they were doing some violent things. I'm like surprised that like, whoa.
You know what? Rated R wasn't introduced until actually, I think like 1980. No, actually 1984 was PG-13.
It was PG-13. So this made it PG-13.
I'm gonna check.
Maybe for this movie, they created PG-13.
Yeah, it was actually created for something else.
Red Dawn is what Sam said. It was for rated R.
I've actually never seen Gremlins.
Oh yeah, I highly recommend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sam says PG-13.
Okay. So it made the cut.
Okay.
I guess it makes sense, because if PG-13 was rolled out in early of 84 and this was like a holiday film, then probably wouldn't make the cut.
Yeah. He just said it's PG. How is that PG?
So it didn't make the cut, right? So it's because back in the day, it's okay.
They were like electrocuting people. So
yeah. I mean, yeah.
1984, I don't know.
I guess they didn't like kill anybody, right? They severely injured people.
Yep, they did. Good choice. Gremlin.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I chose Home Alone, the classic film with which a young boy gets, forgotten about by his parents. His rather large family that live in the house, in the photo behind me. And we don't know what their occupations are, but but in the first one, they're all going to Paris to meet with other family members. You have this Uncle Frank who's getting a free trip that like, he's horrible, and his siblings are horrible to him. And so he gets this opportunity to be at home by himself, but he of course is not alone because there are burglars. So he creates the best Rube Goldberg machine with which to combat these people in his home, and it's great.
That's actually my number one. I remember the year it came out, I had to watch it twice in the theater. And one of those movies that I laughed so hard, my stomach hurt as a kid. And like just found it so enjoyable. There's like so many key things in that movie that this is like a fun call out, like the term like Kevin, who's the main character, the kid, you're what the French call les incompetents. And then did you know the house that's your background was up on Airbnb. So you can actually rent it on Airbnb at the
No
actual
way.
house in December. Like the lucky person could like stay there for a few days. And it's all like marketed out with Home Alone, like how it was during the set. So how amazing is that? We could stay at the Home Alone house.
Hopefully no one does like a Squid Games.
Oh my gosh. No Squid Games, no tarantulas running around.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. The house is like, I love the house. It's so big. I'm like, what is exactly you said? What does the parents do?
Right.
It's a big family and a big house, and they're going to Paris. What are they doing?
Yeah. I guess there was a point in time where, you know, you could afford to take your 7 kids and your sister and brother-in-law and their kids, so 14 kids or 14 people total, to Paris.
Paris. This before they went on the Euro. This is when they're on the front.
They're on the front, yeah. Let's see. So Chris, you chose A Charlie Brown Christmas.
I did. Another classic, which I haven't watched in years, but it just seems like I have very fond memories of it. I always think I hear about it being available and I think, oh, I should watch that, but then I never actually make time to sit down. It's so hard. Or when you were a kid, what you had in your schedule, right, to sit and watch TV at the end of every night. But now you're like out and about doing stuff and it's always there. It's like the Statue of Liberty. If you live in New York, it's always there, but you never get there. So watching something that's streaming, sometimes you don't get to it, even though you think, oh, I totally want to do that.
Well, it's something to keep in. I think it's on Apple TV now. So it's like something to keep in mind. I feel like it used to be available on like broadcast networks like TBS in the same, maybe not the same way as like the 24-hour block of like A Christmas Story, but definitely plays at some point. But now it's like, oh, you have to go to a streaming service to watch it.
For sure.
Charlie Brown Christmas is actually my number 3, and definitely like Chris, this was always one that you can depend on to play during holiday season. And as a child, like I love the animation, I love the music. It's marquee, that music, it meant like it's Charlie Brown Christmas. But I recently rewatched some parts of it, and it's the themes of the movie was more adult than I thought as a kid, like themes of holiday depression, which is also another theme of It's a Wonderful Life, right? And then like Charlie Brown goes a little bit of a therapy session and overcoming the holiday blues. And so looking back and like watching it recently, like those themes, like, wow, this is way more adult content than I thought it would be.
I definitely think for sure some of those older ones don't age well, but I think when you go back and watch things now, it's surprising that it seems like we're more sensitive to those themes, but they were always there.
I agree. Yeah, I think now we're calling it out, but it was always there. Like maybe it was designed so that you have a cartoon character that you can empathize with being younger, but now it's like it's different. I feel like that theme is in another film that somebody ranked on here that we'll get to.
All right, we've got Edward Scissorhands on 2 lists.
Yeah, so Linda, is Edward Scissorhands your 3 or
Charlie Brown Christmas is my number 3?
Okay, so we're going down to 2. All right. So I guess I'm up. Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey, directed by Ron Howard. I tousled with this. I think I between yesterday, early afternoon, and last night, I switched this. So this is it. So Scrooged was my it's in the top 10, but I think I had it at number 2 or something like that. And then I went back and I was like, no, actually, I'm doing myself a disservice. the Jim Carrey, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas is like my number 2. I feel like when it is on, it's just, it's very memorable. It's very memeable. Like there's just so many bits and pieces that I just remember very vividly, and I can rewatch because he's just such a, he's such a great animated, you know, comedian. So you could just like jump in and watch certain parts. There's also like the detail. I think Rick Baker did the makeup. So, you know, all the Whovians have this like very distinct look, and they look very similar to the animated film. I just feel like it was just such a great depiction of something so classic, and also very silly and goofy, and I love it. And I still use the memes to this day, which, you know, is fantastic. And I don't know, I really like it. I was just like, you know what, whatever. It's my number 2.
Why does this Grinch steal Christmas?
Because he's been treated awfully. Like he's been bullied. Like there's a lot of common themes here, right? Like people like bullied. Home Alone bullied. Elf, he couldn't be bullied because he didn't care. Like he was an elf, right? Like had he have, like, he was from the North Pole. Had he been in like North America, he'd probably be bullied and feel bad about himself. But like a lot of these underlying themes are like bullying.
So this is retaliation?
It is. And then he feels something. He feels like he can steal these people's like tangible, you know, gifts, and they still didn't care, which is like not true.
Right.
You can't steal their spirit, but you can steal their things.
You said Ron Howard was the director for the movie?
He was, yes.
I haven't seen it, but I remember seeing some of the, you know, commercials for it, and it seems very colorful, almost like a Tim Burton kind of colorful type of movie, right?
Yeah.
Like I can almost see Tim Burton directing that movie too. So
yeah, it is like a different worldly. You definitely have to watch it. I definitely did not go to the movie theaters to watch it. I think I waited until it was on television, and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually, oh, like it's okay, it's good. But it's become a classic for me.
Nice.
And Chris, your number 2 is Scrooged.
Yeah, which, I mean, you can count on one hand the number of A Christmas Carol remakes that are good, but Scrooge is great. You know, there's so many one-liners in there that are awesome. The different incarnations of the angel or the spirits, the ghosts of Christmas past are great. It's my favorite version of that story. And Bill Murray, love Bill Murray. So
yes,
can't go wrong.
who plays Scrooge in the movie?
Bill Murray.
Oh, Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's got to be good.
Yeah, it's great. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I watched it last night. It was on, I think, TNT or something like that. It's doing like a whole holiday movie marathon. And I was like, oh man, this is good. And I'm like, I just love all the comedians in it too. Like Carol Kane.
Yeah.
I think she's hilarious. And it's funny because I'm like, that woman, she never ages. Like she's in Kimmy Schmidt, and I'm like, you look exactly the same.
Yeah, for sure.
And Buster Poindexter. I'm a huge fan of I like the New York Dolls, and I like his work in every single thing that he does, and his character. So I really liked him as the Ghost of Christmas Past, and Alfre Woodard as the assistant, long-term assistant, her son as the reincarnation of, I guess, Tiny Tim. Oh my gosh, the woman who was the mom in The Sandlot. I think Karen, I forgot her last name. But she plays the love interest of Scrooge.
Oh, right.
I was like, that woman looks familiar. Oh yeah, she's the mom in The Sandlot.
I love The Sandlot.
She's been in a bunch of stuff, I think.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Put yourself down for towels. Have we gone through all the number 2s then?
Oh, yeah.
Linda.
I'll go. For number 2, my choice is Elf.
Okay.
Elf. And I recently saw this too. And I think that Will Ferrell is one of the funniest cast members on SNL. Love the kind of like the buffoon motif and the childlike innocence and the humor that he showcases. Like he's almost like a man baby. So it's very, very endearing. And also, one thing I noticed recently from the film that I didn't realize before. So Zooey Deschanel's in the movie. She plays the love interest. It was early Zooey Deschanel days. And she's at the retail store. She uses the bathroom to take a shower. And Will Ferrell's like, here's her singing because she's singing in the shower. And she's saying, "Baby, it's cold outside." And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And her voice sounds really good. And, you know, I was at home like singing it too. And then Sam says, you know, that's like a rapist song.
Right.
I was like, what? Because I can't hear lyrics. And he goes, yeah, it's a rapist song. You know, like the rapey song. And he goes, the lyrics goes, "I simply must go. Baby, it's cold outside." The answer is no, but baby, it's cold outside. And then it just keeps going and going. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Right.
Yeah, the lyrics are highly problematic, but I would have to say Love Hard actually did a pretty good job of like revamping it. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
I need to re-listen to the Love Hard version then.
No, they actually need to like make it available.
Yeah, but Will Ferrell, Elf, hilarious, childlike humor. It's, you know, it aged well, I would have to say. And it's my number 2.
Nice.
I like Elf.
All right, so number 1s. Here we go.
All right, I guess I'm up. A Very Merry Christmas. I absolutely love this. Well, first of all, I'm completely biased. It is directed by, so it's a Netflix special. It is directed by Sofia Coppola, who is my favorite director. It stars Bill Murray and a cast of your favorites, basically stuck at the Carlisle Hotel on Christmas Eve. He's trying to figure out what to do as a holiday special. It becomes like this whole idealized day in the life of, you know, oh, getting stuck in a snowstorm, running into these celebrity friends. They break out into song. Of course, my favorite band is in this film, Phoenix. They play the Chefs. They do a song by the Beach Boys. There's no Zooey Deschanel. Wait, no, but there is a Jenny Lewis. There is a Buster Poindexter. There's a Maya Rudolph. There's a Darlene Love. There's Chris Rock. And at the end, there's Miley Cyrus, who actually I really don't care for. I know this is, you know, an aside, but she does a very good job. And there's some Rockettes, and it's very, I don't know, it reminds me of a very classic New York Christmas of like, you're trying to get out of the city, you can't, you're snowed in, and then all these events happen. You run into all these like celebrity people, they all start breaking out into song. It's just a really good, you know, film to have on maybe Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. It's relatively short, like I think it's like 90 minutes or so.
Where's the 90-minute movies nowadays?
Tight 90s, as Nate says.
Tight 90s. Bring them back.
I highly recommend it. I love it.
I'm sold. I haven't seen this, but I'm sold.
Linda, I'm shocked.
I know. Why didn't you ever told me about this before?
Are you kidding?
I'm gonna play it on Christmas.
Yes.
I did see this the year it came out. I didn't realize Sofia Coppola was the director, and I didn't realize she's your favorite director. So we probably should talk about that sometime.
An episode. Yeah, we should have an episode on that.
That's
sure.
really hard. That's like asking like a Paul Thomas Anderson, like, what's your favorite? Well, actually, I do have a favorite, but like if we did directors, that's really, really hard.
For sure. Yeah.
So Chris, you're number 1.
Yeah, but I wanted to say A Very Merry Christmas, I also recommend. I think it's very sort of old style because it's segmented out into almost skits. Like, here's this part, which is totally unrelated almost to the part that before. And so I did really like it. My number 1 is Love Actually, which I know is not everyone's favorite, but it's got a great cast.
Yes.
It's got multiple storylines. Not everyone ends up happy, which I, I don't know why that I like that more than when everyone ends up happy, but I do.
It's real life.
Right. People make bad choices in Love Actually, and then they have consequences. I don't like movies where people make bad choices and there are no consequences. But
Yeah.
if you make bad choices and there are consequences, for some reason, that's better to me than if everyone makes good choices and everyone's happy. Like, why did I just watch that? I could just imagine that everyone makes good choices and is happy. So I have to watch Love Actually every year.
What is your favorite storyline in Love Actually?
So my favorite storyline is probably the most controversial one, which is the one where Keira Knightley, and I can't ever remember that guy's name, but her husband's friend have this sort of undisclosed attraction until the end, and he comes out and says, this is why you thought I hated you. It's because I was just avoiding you because I'm really attracted to you. And so discussion ensues, right? People have very strong opinions about whether he should have never said anything, whether he should have said something, whether he should have said something before he said it, before they got married, whether she should have kissed him at the end, so I like storylines that have discussion around them. That's why I like Die Hard. As an action movie, it's great, but as a conversation starter about like how people also feel very strongly that it either is or is not a Christmas movie, to me, that's what movies are about. Like, they spark discussion, and if they don't, then they're entertaining sometimes still, but I'd rather watch something that people want to talk about.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Linda, what's your favorite storyline from Love Actually?
Oh gosh. I like the guy with the signs. That's
Yeah.
the scene in there, which is like a play on, it's a play on like a Bob Dylan music video, I think, like an old music video in the 60s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So they took it from that in that storyline. So
LaCroix, do you have a favorite one?
I like the woman who is like the assistant and like the mayor, I guess, whatever Hugh Grant's character comes back to be like to essentially date her properly instead of kind of being coy around how they feel about each other. And of course I like the little kid and his whole I'm depressed, it's the holidays and this girl, I want to ask her to be my girlfriend.
So he learned how to play the drums.
Yes.
Yeah. Liam Neeson's great in that as the dad.
He is.
Yeah.
Why isn't he in more romantic stuff? He's all in these Taken movies. What's going on with that?
It's a moneymaker.
True. He can be a romantic lead, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
definitely.
Totally.
And also super sad, right? Because in that storyline, his wife has passed.
Yeah.
And then Natasha Richardson passed not that long. I mean, it was a few years, but there's not that much difference in the time frames of when she passed and when that movie came out.
Yeah. Oh, so
Linda.
And my number one, we did briefly talk about it, but Home Alone.
Yeah.
It's another holiday movie I think that aged really well. I recently saw it as well. It's just one of those movies I remember, after you watch something really funny, it leaves you with that funny, that euphoric, feel good feeling after walking away from or watching that piece of content. Home Alone is one of those. Some big stars in it. Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
Forgot her name, Kathleen, but she's in Schitt's Creek. And
yes. Kathleen Turner. Wait,
yes. I think so. Yeah.
So how did you guys feel about the Home Alone 2? Because you both picked Home Alone as a pretty highly ranked movie, but Home Alone 2, and subsequent spin-off sort of things, how did you feel about those?
It's a good follow-up. It takes place in New York, right? Kathleen O'Hara. Thank you. It takes place in New York. It's a good follow-up. Home Alone 1 is still the best, right?
I agree. I was just I can't believe they lost him again. Or I guess he lost them.
have to lose him again to be Home Alone.
Yeah. And then I found it highly problematic. One, I recently saw Home Alone 2 again because it's on all the time. You know, our former president is in that film because he owned the Plaza Hotel at the time. So in order to allow them to film, he requested a cameo, just like he is also in Ghostbusters 2.
No.
That's an aside. I found it highly problematic that there was a townhouse in Manhattan that was available for him to essentially do this again. Like, these people just have money beyond belief, right?
Family. Who's this family?
And then he's bullied by Rob Schneider and Tim Curry as like bellhops at the Plaza Hotel. And then he has to hang out with this shitty woman. Like literally, she's covered in shit from birds. That's so uncomfortable.
There are signs, because she's like the pigeon lady, right? There's signs in Jersey City where I work where like, don't feed the pigeon, you will get fined. They are spreaders of diseases or whatnot. Like there's a law in Jersey City to not feed the pigeons because of that.
No, I was just like, this is good, but it was a lot.
I forgot all about that.
Well,
All I
again,
just remember is
like TNT or whatever, TBS, they're showing all types of holiday films. And it literally was on, I want to say earlier this week, it was Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, like back to back all day long.
Mm. Wow. All right. So those are our holiday films for this episode.
Yay.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will have future special editions, not just reviewing current movies, as we go forward throughout the year. So we are still evolving our format. So thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Happy
Thanks,
holidays.
Linda, for being our special guest.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Had a lot of fun. Learned a lot.